Alright, hey there. I'm Tyler Decker. I'm about to give a speech on how to train for a marathon. Some of you might be asking, it's like, why in the world would you want to run a marathon? Or they might be asking, how long is a marathon even? Well, what a marathon is, it's a foot race that is 26.2 miles long. And so, just from hearing that, a lot of people would be like, what? Why would I want to do that? That is way too long. I would rather die than do that. Well, I actually did think the same thing before I ran my first marathon, because it was just a couple years ago, in 2009, when I first researched running marathons. I was like, oh, these look pretty cool. I mean, I don't know, because what I did is I could run about 3 miles. This was like just in the summer. I was running a little bit here and there, so I ran like 3 miles. I was like, okay, I'm decent. And then I got this advertisement for a local marathon that was just a little over 2 months down the road for a marathon. And I was like, man, a marathon? Couldn't imagine doing that. That is way too long. But also deep down inside, I was like, you know what? Maybe I can do that. That would be pretty sweet. And so just a couple days later, I got on the treadmill and I ran 6 miles, which was more than I ever have without stopping. And I was just totally gassed out. I was just like so tired. But after that, I was like, man, if I can run 6 miles, I don't have to run 20 more. Why not? So obviously I had to get a good training plan going. So after that, I did some research online and I read some books, and I found plenty of good information on how to train effectively, and that helped me just quickly build up my mileage and help me finish my first marathon just a few months later, which was a feeling like none other. It was just so awesome. I was like, man, I finished a marathon. How many other people do that? Because from what I've seen, statistics show that less than 2% of the world's population has ever ran a marathon. So when I knew that, I was like, man, I feel awesome. It's like, how many other people my age are doing this? Because I was only 16 years old. From then on, I ran 3 more after that, with my best time being around 4 hours and 47 minutes, which I felt was a respectable time. And so, here are my tips on how to train for a marathon that I learned along the way. First of all, you want to make sure to find a detailed and just effective training program, because there are a lot of training programs online, and there's a lot of good ones. There's also some not so good ones. If you're a beginner, you want to make sure you get a beginner program. There are plenty of good ones out there, because I would recommend running at least 3 to 4 days a week, because you wouldn't want to run any less than that, and you wouldn't really want to run any more unless you just don't get sore and you're super motivated. Then you could keep running if you really wanted to. And what I recommend is just starting out, just running a few miles. I mean, don't think that you have to run 10 miles right off the bat. It's like, just do a little bit, and just do a long run on every Saturday or Sunday. So that's what I would do, is every Saturday for the first week I'd start like 5 or 6 miles, and then I would do like 7 or 8, then 8 or 9, then 10, 11, then continue going on until my longest run being about 20 miles, which would be a couple weeks before the marathon. So after I'd get about 20 miles, I'd be like, you know what, I bet I could go 26. And the main key point that I learned to train for a marathon is to take walking breaks. A lot of people be like, walking breaks? Pfft, marathoners don't walk, come on. I thought the same thing at first, but actually, taking walking breaks isn't a bad idea, and it's actually something that a lot of first-time marathoners do. What I did, and from what I learned, is to run for 7 minutes, then walk for about 3 minutes. That's what I did at first, just quickly build up my mileage, because that really helped conserve my energy and helped me quickly just be able to go for a really long time. Then eventually I would run for 10 minutes, which is about 1 mile, because I'd run at a 10-minute mile pace, and take just a 1 minute walking break, which is all I would need as, the more I train. And so just doing that is something I would highly recommend for a first-time marathoner and just for someone who quickly wants to build up their mileage and their endurance. And so those are some tips on running. Now, you gotta go to one of the most important parts is nutrition. If you don't have a solid nutrition plan, you're not gonna do very well on your run. You wanna make sure you're eating the right foods and eating often. Carbohydrates are the key to giving your body energy to be able to run for long distances. Slow digesting carbohydrates, which are carbs that obviously digest slowly and continue to give your body energy throughout the day, are what I would recommend eating before runs. Those carbs could include like rice, cereal, whole grains, pasta, oatmeal. Those are all very healthy choices. And then for immediately after a run, you can eat fast digesting carbohydrates, which are like quick, simple sugars like candy and like juice and fruit. But you might think fruit's really healthy and good for before a run. Why not? But honestly, I would recommend eating fruit right after a run and not beforehand, just because it only gives you just a short burst of energy. So eating that immediately after a run will quickly refuel your body so you don't feel as sore the next day, or you don't feel totally worn out the rest of the day. And I'd also recommend eating about 6 times a day, which would be about every 2 to 3 hours. Which obviously never skipping breakfast, and eating a lot of carbs in the morning, before and after your workouts, and just eating mostly protein at night. Just because any carbs that you don't utilize are just going to be stored as body fat, which nobody wants, of course. And for protein too, I'd recommend eating about 0.65 grams of protein per pound of body weight. So let's say you get a 150-pound guy. He would have to eat about 96 grams of protein, which is a good idea for marathon runners, because you don't want to eat too much, because they're not bodybuilders. You're not trying to get big, but you want to eat enough to be able to rebuild your torn muscle tissue from running and to still, get toned and defined, because everybody still wants to look good, And so those are very important nutrition facts and things that I learned, which really helped me build up my endurance and just feel good during my runs. So also, it's like you want to be able to stay motivated during running too. And there are a lot of ways to be able to stay motivated, because it's easy to just get tired of it and be like, man, I'm getting so bored of this. This is just so long and tiring. It's like, I don't want to run anymore. It's just so easy to want to quit. So here are some tips just to stay motivated. First of all, get your iPod or get an MP3 player and put some music that you really enjoy. And that music that really you feel like it's going to motivate you and help keep you going. I like a lot of hip-hop, a lot of rock, 80s, metal. Those are some types that I enjoy that help me just keep going and feeling good and feeling strong. And so, yeah, listening to music is perfect. And also, just find a buddy, find a good friend to run with. We all have those friends who are crazy about exercise and running. And trust me, it probably won't be that hard to find somebody who will go running with you. And so, just find a buddy to, to be able to talk to or even suffer with you if it's a really difficult training session. Because nobody likes to have to go through that by themselves. And also, make sure you're getting plenty of sleep. I'd recommend at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep for athletes especially. Because anytime I don't get enough sleep, trust me, my strength just quickly saps and I don't feel nearly as good and well energized during my workouts as I do when I get at least 6 to 8 hours. Because I know with a lot of jobs that we're working, we might not have time to get a whole lot of sleep. But trust me, it will make a difference. Just find ways to go to bed earlier if you have to get up early, or just sleep in a little bit if you can. But you also don't want to get too much, because then you'll just feel more tired. And so that is something that is very critical to effective training program. So overall, a marathon is something that, I never pictured myself doing, because I was always into lifting weights and bodybuilding, pumping iron. And so a lot of people, when they see me running a marathon, they're like, dude, what is a guy like you, as big as you are, doing a marathon? Well, I just tell them, hey, I like doing things I know most people aren't doing. I mean, how many bodybuilders run marathons, How many 20-year-olds run marathons? And overall, no matter how old you are or where you're at, trust me, 98% of other people on the planet aren't doing what you're doing. I mean, you're really setting an example, and you're really proving yourself and just doing something that, it's obviously ridiculously hard, but you just feel awesome afterwards. So that's one reason, and just the key reason why I like to do it. And what's funny is that it's something that you can't just do once. It's like after you do one marathon, trust me, you will want to do another one, because you're going to be like, man, that was so awesome, or I really feel like I could go faster. So you're going to quit. Trust me, you'll want to do more. Some of the people I know have ran marathons have done, 4 to 5 to even 20 to 30s, something ridiculous like that. And so, overall, I think it's a great physical challenge and a great event, and I hope all these tips help. So, if you ever plan on running a marathon, that would be fantastic, and I hope my advice helps you out, and good luck. Alright, catch you guys later.